Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today, after 4 years since the CV rework, we're finally getting some changes to the AA mechanics. This is almost big enough, I'd say, to be considered an AA rework. It's more of a change between the interaction between AA and planes, however, but it is a pretty significant change overall. I guess finally, after 4 years, they decided that, yeah, it's a little screwy the way it happens now. So, let's go ahead and dive on into it. There's some CV gameplay going on in the background. I understand CV bad, but it is pretty pertinent to have this up while we're talking about how AA and planes interact, as you will be seeing examples of that in the background right now. So let's go ahead and get on into it. Link to this dev blog is in the description down below if you want to read along as I read aloud. I will throw up any relevant images or artwork as usual with any dev blog, although this one doesn't have any, so none will be thrown up right now. So let's go ahead and get on into it. Again, link to this is in the description if you want to check it out for yourself, which I highly encourage you to do so. So, AA mechanics changes closed testing. Closed concept testing of changes to AA mechanics will take place shortly. The changes are designed to increase the impact of AA on aircraft carrier offensive capabilities, shifting the impact from future attacks to current. Squadrons are now divided into a group that will launch an attack and a group of remaining aircraft. If an aircraft from an attacking group is shot down, its place will not be taken by other aircraft from the squadron. The attacking group will be filled with new aircraft from the squadron only when there are no planes left in it. The attacking squadron will not be able to conduct an attack for a period of time after it has been refilled with planes. That's interesting right there. So, this sounds like the Soviet CVs were kind of a test bed for this concept. And this now means that if you look in the background footage, when I go in to attack a ship with the planes, when some of my planes get shot down, their spots are pretty much instantly filled by aircraft from other squadrons in the flight. So if you don't know, if you've never played CVs, if you look down above my toolbar, you'll see that there's these green bars, and each green bar represents the plane, and the bars are divided into, depending upon which squadron I'm currently using right now, anywhere from 3 to, I think, 6 squadrons in the flight. Those squadrons then each are essentially one attack run that you get off with the planes. And you'll see as planes are shot down, those bars disappear, and if a plane is shot down in the attacking squadron that I'm currently using, a plane from one of those other squadrons will fill its spot, to where even though the enemy ship has shot down a plane, it hasn't necessarily taken away any ordnance coming at it. So if I'm using a squadron like, let's say, the Richthofen's dive bomber squadron, if you guys can tell, there's quite a few planes in that squadron. So you would have to shoot down every single plane and every single other squadron in that entire flight before you can actually take away any bombs coming at your ship. So that's quite a few planes you have to chew through. And that's why a lot of times players, the perception is, oh, I shot down 5 planes, yet I still ate a full, let's say, 17,600 damage from this Richthofen's dive bomber squadron. This sucks. I shot down 5 planes. Why is the CV still getting through? In fact, what you have done is limited the future striking capability of that CV, because as you shoot down planes, the carrier, of course, only has so many planes in reserve, and is also continuously making planes because the Focke-Wulf factory is above the Richthofen. I don't know. So, over time, that will eventually wear down the CV's future strike capability. So while, yes, later in the match, you might, be causing the CV to not be able to do things, currently in the match, from the surface ship player's perspective, you've done nothing. So that's the current issue right now. This solves this by not allowing those planes from the other squadrons into the current attacking squadron until every single plane in that squadron is gone. So, theoretically now, with the way this is sounding, you will be able to take away damage coming at you from the attacking squadron. So let's say in the torpedo squadron for the Richthofen, for example, there's 3 planes in that squadron. And this happens a couple of times. You can see when I go on an attack run on a ship, 1 or 2 of the torpedo aircraft might be shot down. German CV planes are fast, but they don't have a lot of plane armor or plane health. But again, it immediately gets filled by planes from the remaining squadron. So under this new system, if someone shoots down one of these torpedo planes in the middle of an attack run, now only 2 torpedoes will be launched at that ship, thereby decreasing the amount of incoming damage. Again, very similar to the Russian CVs, the way that those work right now. So, I like this change. It's obviously very much in favor of the surface ship side. I do think there are ways CV players can get around it. It's definitely going to throw a monkey wrench in the way I play CVs, because if you guys notice, what I normally do is I drop a squadron off at the beginning of the flight, that way that I have planes in reserve, enough that where if my planes get shot down, I have enough planes to fill in the attacking squadron, get the attack off, the full force of the attack off, then I just recall the rest of the squadron back to the CV. But there's still more to look at. So, the second point, AA will have a new parameter that sets the chance that continuous damage will be dealt to an aircraft from an attacking group. Otherwise, the damage will be dealt to the aircraft from the rest of the squadron. In other words, the squadron is now divided into attacking group and the rest. AA can attack either an aircraft from an attacking group or from the rest, and there's a parameter setting a chance that AA will choose an aircraft from the attacking group. Target selection will remain in effect for some time after leaving the air defense zone. So it sounds like it's kind of RNG now, to where instead of just attacking the last plane in the squadron, it's going to, you're going to have a chance of attacking planes in the attacking squadron and the rest, as they put it. Okay, if a squadron flies through multiple ships' air defenses, all continuous damage will be dealt to one selected aircraft. Rip that plane. Damage to aircraft by fighters, flak, and instant damage to priority sector will not change. With the changes, the player will have the opportunity to reduce the damage from ongoing carrier attack by shooting down planes from attacking flights. It is now possible to return only the attacking group to the aircraft carrier by holding down the F key. That's something that also sounds pretty hardcore there. So what happens a lot of times, and again, this is the method that I use when I play CVs, is that, of course, I get like a cushion, as I like to call it. I'll have, let's say there's 3 squadrons available to me, like you see in the background here. I dump the first one the second I can, they go back to the carrier, those aircraft are now on deck. And I now have, let's say 2 squadrons of 3 torpedo bombers on the Richthofen. So I fly toward the target. That second squadron is the cushion, so if 1 or 2 of my current squadron get shot down, 2 aircraft from that squadron will now fill the plane spots in the attacking squadron, and I just, rip the torpedoes off. And let's say if I don't have a lot of losses and I still have 2 or 3 planes in the second torpedo bomber squadron, I just call them back right away, because normally by the time you've gotten your attack off, a lot of times in tier 10 games, you've flown into 2 or 3 other ships AA zone. So now you don't really have the health or the planes to pull off a second attack, so you just call them right on back. So if I'm reading this right, it sounds like CVs will no longer be able to call back the entire squadron, the entire flight, by pressing the F key, and now they have to call them back one at a time. So this forces their planes to stay out there and eat the flak damage and eat the continuous damage. So that sounds, honestly, I know, CV bad, we hate CVs here, that does sound a little rough, because, as we've talked about in a couple of recent videos too, high tier matches now are all just ships clumping together, going to one side, lemming training one way or another. So that's gonna put a dampener on CV plane survivability for sure, because if you want to attack those those ships, again, a lot of players do what I do. They dump a couple of squadrons. They have maybe 2 squadrons that they send out, but you might get 1 or 2 of those planes back. or 1 or 2 of those groups back, you know, if you can F out in time. So yeah, that sounds really rough. Now, I know it's close testing. There's still a lot that can change before this and final release. But overall, looks like AA mechanics are about to swing back in favor of the surface ships. A change, or at least something that's been needing to have been looked at for quite some time. So I'm very glad they're taking a look at this, and they're keeping us in the loop and keeping us up to date on what's going on. So guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you like these changes? Do you dislike these changes? How do you think this is going to affect the game? Let me know in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday, have a wonderful weekend, and hope to catch you guys in the next one.